Leon Zylberman. Mr. Zylberman, tell me something about the trip to Majdanek. How many people went along, besides the family?
To Majdanek. Well, when we came to Majdanek, naturally there was the assessment that this finger, right, left, of death, left of his life. And my brother already knew the way he knew the best, then he knew the right from the better, so he went away in the right. I myself, when I saw my mother go to the left, I went the same thing with my mother, the same way. I couldn't kill her. In Bella were the same thing together. And actually, I wasn't committed right now there to go to die to my Majdanek. Then I was young. I took my mother that time by hand, and I held her up in order to be able, and she came before the door from the guest chambers, where they got in there, and of course the doors were hermetically closed up, and I didn't know what happened behind it, but I was told there was cycling guests came down there, and all of them got dead, women and children with their hands on hand, screaming, squeezing them to the doors. And the conveyor came, the conveyor took him right out there, and of course, to the guest chambers, and that was it.
How long a trip was it from Warsaw to Majdanek?
From Warsaw to Majdanek, the trip took us about 2 days. We were stopped at one place there, and my brother at that time, Mayor, he knew where we were going. He wanted to jump the train, and I tried to talk him out, Mayor, there's a change, because on top of the train were the SS with the machine guns. Anybody jumped out of the train, you killed him right on the spot. And I tried not to talk to him out that time. Maybe I made a mistake, maybe I should have let him jump, I don't know. But at the moment I thought, maybe maybe it's still a chance. And actually I never saw him again. After he got to Majdanek, he got over there to the war prisoners was that time. At the beginning he had a right, but at the end, he was nobody lived our life. My mother, in the meantime, when she was in Majdanek, she got in Majdanek and me together, of course. I got in without anything having with myself. All I had with me that time is I saved, I prepared myself before that concentration camp. I had gold. At that time, prepared different kind of way how to save some gold diamonds. Diamonds I had with me too, which luckily I lost them there in the shower. And that was a good luck to me, otherwise I wouldn't be living. So there were some of them Jews. Then they got in there and they tried to buy something for a diamond, and a Polak got involved. He got the diamond, and went down to the SS and gave him the diamond and told them the Jew. I remember that Jew, a Jew from the north side. And how they beat him up to death. Took his pants off and kept him, brought 2 guys on both sides. How he died, and what kind of pain. It's impossible, the blood was springing on both sides. Anyway, I lost them diamonds. If I would have something left, I had them hidden, which nobody could find it. By going in, at the end I had them at my fingers, my toes, going on the strips, was on the strips, the board strips. And somehow, it was good luck to me that I lost them. If I had them that time, it was something meant for me to be alive. I saw different types, miracles. How? How did I prepared my everything. The one thing I had left, I'd say, was a buckle, a gold buckle, which I prepared myself and made it dark. It was made out of gold. I made it myself that time. 18 karat, all the best made it out. And that belt went through all the travel until I was liberated. And after I got back with my wife, with Bella, I made wedding bands that time.
How were you able to save the buckle?
Huh?
How were you able to save the belt buckle?
How was I able to save it?
Save it.
I did not, it wasn't a belt.
And they let
It's
you,
just my belt.
they let you keep the
But
belt?
they didn't think about the buckles thing. It was like an old belt like this, an old one.
And you had painted
The buckle was oxidized black. The gold belt was oxidized black. Nobody could tell. It was an ordinary plain. It wasn't a fancy like an ordinary plain buckle like this here, something like this. And that was with me all the time. All the time until liberated.
What was the situation like with food in Majdanek?
Situation with Majdanek was, the only thing I could manage, I didn't smoke. Some of them for smoke, for pop or smoke, they give away the soup. They give away parts of bread. And I was trying to save myself this year. And then, of course, in Majdanek, my wife, Bella, she got caught, and I was blaming myself. Why did I stop it from going down to that camp that they wanted, the most of them was alive? Why did I do it? And my conscience was bothering me, and she's hungry. And I said to myself, I have to do something. So I saved up, to save up 2 portions of bread that time. And how can I give it to her? How can I get the whole? Because she's a different block, women, and I'm in the men's block. There was one guy which was a friend of my wife's, of my Bella's that time, before the war. He used to belong to the Shoah, to the Jewish Zionistische organization. And she knew him, and I knew him. So when he was going down from the women's break to the men's break, he would say, take out from the latrine all this drops. And I met him and said, look, I want you to do me a favor. Here, my wife, my Bella is over there, you know Bella. She's hungry, and I feel guilty. I'm saving up this portion of bread. Give it to her, please. And I was tickled happy that I can do something for her. And I didn't know. And next day, 2 days later, I gave him another patient, which I said I could make myself stop my hunger. I was talking myself in, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. I've taken a million times a day. And next time, we were going to work out in the camp, to go down to the ramp, to the train, to load the bumps. And my Bella was going with the woman on the other side, and we were crossing each other, and I called out, Bella, did you get the bread? No. And I felt I understood right away. He was hungry just himself. How could I give him bread and he was hungry himself? He ate it himself. So that was the time.
How long did Bella stay in Majdanek?
Huh?
How long did Bella stay in Majdanek?
Yeah, after a while, there was a group that needed some women help to Auschwitz. She signed up, and she went down to Auschwitz. There was a lot of them, the Czech women, which they were couples, Jewish women, and Bella was so beautiful. She saw that the couple saw her. She took her on her people on her help. And she was staying with her a long time. She was there like a queen. Like queen. She was there wonderful. My sister, Manya, was also down to Auschwitz. And she used to help at the one time. She told me that time that my sister was taken, she was took sick and typhoid fever. And she used to go down there. She went through before typhoid fever too, Bella. She used to be dressed, beautiful dresser, because she could pick whatever she wanted. And she went down to my sister. She changed it, had the beautiful dresses, they gave it to my sister, and she went back with the schmatters, whatever she had. And she could change again. But at least she helped them for a while. But
do you know how Malkala got from Warsaw to Auschwitz? When did Manya go from Warsaw to Auschwitz?
Warsaw?
She was hidden in the
Warsaw.
feathers?
She went from Manya was also in Majdanek.
She went to Majdanek with
you? Yeah,
you?
but she went out there, they took it out that time to Auschwitz.
Did you know she was in Majdanek? Did she go with you?
Well, she also wasn't. She went that time when my wife, when they took me out, and my mother, and my brother, and my sister Manya, and that end was at that time. Manya went out from Majdanek also to Auschwitz. She was helping out there too. But what happened to Manya later on, I was told she went down to, I keep forgetting the name, I got it in my name. Not Ravensbrück. The camp, the English one. The English took care on this camp. You know, a moment ago I told you, now it's blocked.
Was it Bergen-Belsen?
The camp.
Bergen-Belsen?
Bergen-Belsen, yeah. Bergen-Belsen, my money, was supposed to go down there. Somebody, a woman which I knew from Warsaw, she met her there. But I tried after the war to try to look up for my sister. Couldn't find her between the living, not between the dead ones. But this is the stage later. Let me finish with Manya, with Bella. The Bella was working there at Auschwitz with her, with the Czechish woman, and she was there in good shape. Came the time when they had to evacuate. Russia was coming closer. They had to evacuate Auschwitz. Yeah, before that, in Majdanek, they came up to me and the SS looked for watchmakers and clockmakers. I was, at the time, when I gave out the belly, the 2 portions of bread, I kept myself in shape that I am not hungry, I'm not hungry. But one day I was walking on the block on the inside after the work, and a guy called me from far, Mr. Zylberman, you want some soup? He was the guy which I was dealing with him just before I got into that death camp in Warsaw. He was a Jew, but impersonated as a Polak. He had a baby which was not even circumcised, and his wife was a Gentile woman. And he was supposed to hide himself, but he got caught. And here, this time, was a little uprising by the Polacks. A lot of Polacks came into that Majdanek camp, so they needed more help to supply to give out the soup to all the inmates. So he called me. At that moment, I forgot myself, that I was teaching myself that I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, and I forgot myself. I went over and I got about 4 big pots. It's about 4 or 5 liters soup. I ate it. I not ate, I just, and the minute I ate it, I became sick. My stomach wouldn't hold it, I wouldn't hold it. And there, the time there was the watchmakers and clockmakers, and I was sick, I couldn't hold anything. And I got called up 2 days later, watchmakers have to go, we have to be checked out. Before they checked it out, if I'm a profession, I know my profession, they knew right away. But then they had to come doctors to check us out that we don't have any disease, because they wanted to take us to Berlin, to Sachsenhausen, different camp. I didn't know that time yet. And I can't hold myself. From the group of watchmakers which was supposed to register was about 60, 70, was only left about 9. There was 2, one was a Czech Jew, which he was like the king in Majdanek, because his father had a store in Czechoslovakia, in Prague, in one of the assessments, which was there in that camp, was working with the father, and he gave him that function. He was the watchmaker. He went in the doctors were supposed to check us out. He was the voice. And I said, I was a little bit in the doubt that time. Maybe it's a trick. Maybe I had wait here. Maybe the war will finish any other day. But I said, if he goes down there, and if he takes the chance, why shouldn't I take the chance? So he went in there. He passed right away, healthy, because he had everything, food, plenty food. Another guy was working in the kitchen. He also wasn't well. He was more or less a a hero, he's a help in comparison to me. He went in, and as soon as he comes out, soon he went in, took about 5 minutes, he comes out crying. I said, what happened to you, Harry? They rejected me. What happened? He was bitten from lice all around there, and they didn't want him. Then I said to myself, my goodness, what am I doing? What have I to do chances here? I was staying there and debating with myself, and then the time came I had to go in, because I was the last one. Another one went in too, and I had to go in. And something happened to me. Something happened to me. That's just the mind dictated me. I went in, and I saluted them. Something things right. And I had behind myself some of the papers inside, not to show that anything is coming out. And I saluted them, and I told them my number 7109, 71023. I gave him my number.
Do you have the number on your arm?
No. They had numbers, but not on the arm. In Majdanek, they didn't make numbers. It was too much for them to make numbers. They didn't. In Auschwitz, they made numbers, but not in Majdanek. It was too expensive for them, for a Jew. It doesn't write it. He's going to be dead anyway. But there I had a number. I remember. I'll never forget it. So I told them, and I told them, I'm the last one. They was expecting to have about 35 watchmakers which they were approved. And here they only have 8. Because 9 was in, 1 was rejected. And I set them both standing, each other, 2 doctors, and look at each other. At that moment, I saw my mother standing between them both. Like I see you here. And somehow they looked around. Jawohl, die gehst. So I was not rejected. And today there came 6 soldiers from Berlin to take us from Majdanek to Berlin.
What do you figure was your weight at that point?
What?
How much did you weigh then?
I was almost 80 pounds. I was a skeleton.
Well, they called...
But they will to see the end. But also the time when they came up to give us out from that Majdanek to the new guys, to the new soldiers who go to Berlin. At that time, one of the assessmen in Majdanek, I never forget it. I was once that time ready to go away, tried to run away from Majdanek, and I put down underneath a civil jacket and the stripe on top. Coming into the camp from the rump loading the bombs, they always checked us out. They noticed that I had that civil uniform underneath. For that, there was no question to hang it right away. This guy gave me such a beating, and I fell down. I was unconscious, laying down on the ground. And he left. The boys around me said, you're lucky. He could have taken it to hang you. You're lucky. And they came to pick me out, and this same soldier supposed to give me over to the other ones. He recognized me that time, and he said to me in German, du hast Glück, du gehst zum Leben. Ich konnte dich dann totschlagen, aber du gehst zum Leben. I never
want to translate that?
This guy.
You want to translate that for me?
Huh?
What did he tell you in English?
In English, you're lucky. I could have killed you that time, but now you're going to live.
Was there ever any...
It's in my ears. I never forget the slogan.
Was there ever any other torture in Majdanek while you were there?
The other tortures I had. Tortures in Majdanek had from the beginning when I had got them. And they give us to break the stones. And I was sitting there breaking the stones. And one of my neighbors next to me was sitting, don't break the stones. And we were both talking and cussing ourselves. Why didn't we fight? Why? Well, I was talking like this. And the assessment in the back saw it. He came over and with both hands on my ear. We bought tents, and that wasn't enough yet. I was right away, felt something in my ear here. There was a boy, had a horse, he was using the horse on the garden. He called that boy, come, 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 come. He took that horse, in that ear, with the pressure on the ear here. Ever since that time, my ear is dead. This ear is dead. I went down to all different now. I'm supposed to make tomorrow a hearing aid on this side here. I had one here. This was the time, that time. And I pulled down that I'm laying. This was the Majdanek. Anyway, let me continue with this here. With the things which I was going with the
When you were on your way to Sachsenhausen,
yeah, Sachsenhausen.
how did they prepare the trip?
The trip was they gave us food, but I couldn't eat nothing. I couldn't digest anything. I couldn't hold. I gave it.
There was a term that they used for a person who was in the condition that you were.
There was a time. At that time,
when you were so thin.
I tell you, I was already going to Sachsenhausen as the watchmaker. It was something like they needed me. They needed me. So anyway.
But didn't they call that?
When I came up to Sachsenhausen.
Didn't they call that by a special term? How you looked, that you were almost ready to die.
Musulman. The name was a Musulman. That was the name. Ain't that a Musulman? You heard that word? I came to Sachsenhausen and an appel. I had to stand appel. I couldn't stay. I had to knee down like this here. I couldn't stay. And the good luck was that Sachsenhausen was a camp. It was more social camp, like communist camp. There was a couple, one couple. When I got in there after the appel, he saw me. He was a Russian mother and a German Russian father and a German woman, German wife, mother. He had feeling. He told me right away, du musst nicht arbeiten. Du bist an Schonung.
What does that mean?
Schonung. You have to rest. You don't have to do nothing. In my life, hunger, I don't have to tell you how the hunger was there. My life was, I have to make it. I have to see the end of the war. I have to. I touch Shichi myself. It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
When did you go to Sachsenhausen?
Sachsenhausen? May. It took me out from Majdanek was on May 43. No, around June. No, I came in before the holiday. Around July 43. I came to Sachsenhausen.
You came to Majdanek in May of 43.
43.
And how long were you in Majdanek?
Majdanek was only by maybe 2 months, maybe less than 2 months. The 2 months was like 200 years.
And then you went to Sachsenhausen in July?
Yeah, Sachsenhausen.
And what were the conditions
I
like
could
there?
have to walk. When they took us there with the thing, the beginning we had to walk down to the train because there was no transportation that time. I could have walked away. Where would I walk? The Polacks would tell me I was sick, I couldn't move nothing.
What were the conditions like in Sachsenhausen?
Oh, it was condition that to me was like from the death to life. Because they didn't hit you so much, they didn't beat you. The talk, the harmony, the SS was also clockmakers and watchmakers. They had the respect. At the beginning, I didn't work right away. I had to go down to the hospital. I went down to the hospital that time, and there were doctors, there were Norwegian doctors. And there was one, I remember, was one black, partial noise, an anti-Semite. There was Russians and the Polacks. A lot of Russians. With the Russians, I was close. I told them that I'm a Jew. For the Polacks, I was afraid to tell them I'm a Jew. But the Russians, I told them. And they were telling me, what's the difference? We are the same people. They treat me right. It was just like human behaving.
Besides watchmaking, what other things did they do in Sachsenhausen?
In Sachsenhausen, there was also a special group which they were which they were making the false papers, the, what do you call them, special. They were making their documents, money, American money, and chemists. It was a group of chemists. They one day, there was next to our block. There was the watchmaking block, and there was the block. We could not have connection with them, nobody. They were treated just like the best, because they're making sometimes transport, certain amount of money, so documents, false papers, they were just, nobody could recognize the difference.
For the Germans? They were doing this for the German soldiers?
For the Germans, for the German army, for the SS, for the Gestapo.
And did they have...
Maybe for Switzerland, who knows that time was going on. Now it's find out that the whole world was collaborated. Everybody.
Did they have...
America didn't do nothing to help. The whole world, Switzerland was collaborating here. All the gold and money with this is right now there. Who believed that under Switzerland, a neutral country is supposed to be like only Sweden, Denmark, the bloc. They were the one that helped out. They had to have that heavy water which they wanted to make the atom. They hid it. They did it. Hitler knew everything. They knew everything. There was collaboration all around there.
Did they also do things with airplanes in Sachsenhausen?
Airplanes? Not that I know. I know
airplane parts.
The one day they came up, English bombers came up at night. We were so tickled, happy to death, being on the car, on the beds, and there were bombs all around. The night was like daylight, a pleasure looking. The SS was trembling, the Gestapo was trembling, and we were happy. One day there was a bomb not too far from the camp. It was like a shrapnel hit at the camp. Next morning they sent down news that we didn't mean to do it. Apology. And anybody that picked it up was getting a beating. We should not even read it. Look at it. It's so much.
Did you have news from the outside world in Sachsenhausen?
No. Yes. Yet the radio was on. We worked in watchmaking, the radio was on. Only the radio what they wanted us to hear. And of course we knew we knew that the Russians are coming closer and closer. And we knew this, but we only were afraid because we knew what they done before they evacuated the camp. They killed them, they tried to wipe out all the signs, all the which they showed the world.
How long did it take you until you felt better?
Did I feel better? A short time. When this couple gave me this kind of shonen, I shouldn't work. And I started eating here. Then, of course, I started to get more appetite, so the majority of the camp inmates was not only Jews, it was Russians, French, Belgian, Denmark, all different kind of nationalities. They used to get packages from home, and they did not want to eat the soup anymore, and they didn't want to wash the big pots. So when I felt better, I volunteered. I said, I'm going to use the kettle to wash the kettle. And I started filling myself up with enough soup. And some of them soup I used to trade later on with something from a little bit more bread. And I became back in shape as a human being. Work on the clocks. Then, of course, I looked up here to see how can I help somebody else. In the hospital there, in the Revier, I went down there right after the work. Then I went down on a Sunday, and I met a Jewish fellow there. He was from Ravensbrück. They took him down here because he had the trouble with the foot, a gangrene. They amputated his foot. And I met him there, so I said, look, I would like to help you with soup. So I thought every day, during the work time, I used to take a big pot of soup and give him down there. I had to be in time back because I only had half an hour to take it and go down and come back.
This is the end of tape 4.